Greetings, everyone, and welcome. I'm the Chancellor Soul Mike Boone. You've tuned in to another edition of Soul Facts, a show highlighting the history and music of legendary artists and preserving their legacy. This edition features a gifted artist who, because of her natural endowment of talent, conquered all genres of music: blues, jazz, country, R&B, soul, and pop. Soul Facts Spotlight artist, the one and only Miss Esther Phillips. Born on December 23rd, 1935 in Galveston, Texas, Esther Mae Jones, who later became Esther Phillips, moved to Los Angeles, California in a section called Watts at the age of 5 with a mother who divorced from her father. Esther was exposed to gospel music as a child and began her vocal training in church. Her musical idol was no other than Miss Donna Washington, the Queen of the Blues, and by the age of 12, she began singing like her. Esther's voice has a unique nasal tonality in her vocals, but had a sultry sophistication and quality even at that age. One night in 1949, Phillips' older sister suggested that, well, since she liked singing so much, she was going to take her out to a club and make some money. She dressed Esther to look older and then proceeded to enter her in a singing contest at the Barrel House, a nightclub owned by the legendary band leader and musician Johnny Otis. Esther won first prize, $10, but her sister and a friend took $9 and gave Esther $1 and then got her out of the club. Johnny Otis was intrigued by the young girl, but she left without him getting her name. It took him months to find her in various amateur contest clubs, and finally he found her. Otis came to her house to get permission from her mother to let her sing with him. Now, being very protective, Esther's mother reluctantly said yes. When Johnny's band began touring, her mother went with her, got her a tutor for her studies, and believe it or not, a baseball bat for unsuitors. Johnny Otis believed in Esther's talent so much, he hustled her into the studios of Modern Records and issued her first recording at the age of 14. I've got a guy
that treats me like I'm dead. Yes, I've got a guy who treats me like I'm dead.
She then signed with Savoy Records and charted her first hit, Double Crossing Blues, zooming straight to the #1 position in R&B for 9 weeks straight during the winter of 1950.
Been looking for you, Daddy. I just found you in time. You hit some other woman and you swore that you were mine. What's the matter, Daddy? Don't my kisses satisfy?
Johnny Otis added Little Esther to his traveling review called the California Rhythm and Blues Caravan, sponsored by Herman Lubinsky, owner of Savoy Records. Now billed as Little Esther Phillips, her last name taken from a gas station sign, enjoyed the fruits and temptations of road life. Unfortunately, this would lead to her beginnings of a lifelong addiction to heroin and alcohol. Little Esther had a string of hits on Savoy Records, including a duet with Mel Walker, Mistrusting Blues, B-side of Double Crossing Blues.
I don't believe you love me anymore.
Other hits include Misery, Cupid's Boogie, Deceiving Blues, and Wedding Blues, back with Fallaway Blues. Phillips would soon leave the Johnny Otis Review after a disagreement over money. She also departed with Savoy Records in 1951 for non-payment of royalties and requests for a restraining order against Savoy not to issue any further recordings by her. Her mother becomes her legal guardian around this time as well. Afterwards, Esther inked a deal with Federal Records and issued 15 uncharted releases, including one with the Dominoes, The Deacon Moves In. And one charted hit entitled Ring-a-Ding-Doo.
Well, now that we've met,
A date can be set
so we can show each other how to ring-a-ding-doo. Ring-a-ding-doo.
Without touring with the Johnny Otis Band, he hurt her record sales because of lack of promotion. Plus, her drug addiction was beginning to take its toll. Low on money, she worked in various dives, meaning nightclubs, and afterwards entered into a hospital in Lexington, Kentucky to recover from a heroin addiction. Esther would appear on various labels, including Decca, in which the imprint lured her away from Federal, releasing 3 again uncharted singles. She signed with one indie label, Region, with one single issue, Hangover Blues. Phillips then re-signed with Savoy in 1956 and again issued 3 uncharted singles. Nothing seems to be going right at this time for Esther, but she would bounce back up once again. The 1960s, a dawn of a new decade. By now, Esther Phillips was a seasoned performer and recording artist. With one single issued on Warwick entitled Wild Child back with G Baby in 1961, she continued to make club appearances in her hometown in Houston, Texas. One night during one of her performances, a young singer named Kenny Rogers, yes, the gambler himself, heard Esther sing Charlie Rich's song, No Headstone on My Grave, and convinced his brother Leland to sign her on his Lenox imprint. He loved her, and he did. Phillips recorded a masterpiece country tune called Release Me.
Release me and let me love again.
Originally recorded by Eddie Miller in 1949, Jimmy Heap in 1952, and Ray Price in 1954. The song would relaunch Esther's career and jolt a huge comeback in 1962 and 63. With background vocals provided by the Anita Kerr Singers, the song charted #1 R&B December 22nd, 1962, and #8 pop also on December 22nd. More uncharted releases on Lenox were minor, but classics. But one duet with Big Al Downing is considered a real classic. You Never Miss Your Water.
Oh, you never missed the water till the well runs dry. I never missed your daddy till you said bye-bye. Try me one more time.
You Never Miss Your Water is a nice bouncy tune that's considered to be an underground classic among record collectors.
Sleep, you know I'm just about to lose my mind.
Let me tell you something, baby.
With only one charted hit on Lenox, it was time to move on. Atlantic Records showed interest and brought up Esther Phillips' Lenox contract and masters in 1963. Now billed as Esther Phillips and dropping Little Name, Atlantic released uncharted singles, 4 of them on Phillips. Once again, she revived her career with the beautiful cover of the Beatles' 1964 classic Million Seller, And I Love Her, from their movie soundtrack LP, A Hard Day's Night.
I give him all my love. That's all I do. And if you saw my love, you'd love him too. I love him.
Changing the title song Gender to And I Love Him, Esther's performance on the song was impeccable. A sheer touch of elegance and style, vocally speaking. You know, Esther's version has echoes of George Martin, the Beatles producer, masterpiece arrangements of his instrumental variation of And I Love Her, featured as an album filler on the Beatles' American release of Hard Day's Night on United Artists, issued on Friday, June 26, 1964. You know, it also left a lasting impression on the Beatles in choosing Esther's version of their composed song as their favorite. The Fab Four personally flew Phillips to England to appear with them on the popular BBC TV series Ready, Steady, Go in 1965.
Thank you, Chancellor. The next person we've got on the show is somebody who's done one of the best versions of one of our songs ever. Well, that's what me and Paul think, and George and Ringo. And here she is, Miss Esther Phillips.
Esther Phillips' version charted number 11 R&B May 15, 1965, and number 54 pop. A self-titled LP was also released later that year.
That's all I do. And if you saw my love, you'd love him too. I love him.
Esther released yet another song, Gender, this time the remake of Percy Sledge's number one hit, When a Man Loves a Woman to When a Woman Loves a Man.
When a woman loves a man, can't keep her mind on nothing else.
The song charted number 26 R&B on July 2nd, 1966.
If he's blind, she can't see it.
Esther will have another chart hiatus for 3 years because of her drug addiction.
Turn her back on her best friend.
Atlantic Records dropped her, and then she would ink a deal with Roulette Records, charting one hit, Too Late to Worry, Too Late to Cry, in 1969.
You know it's too late to worry. Too late. And I'm too blue to cry.
Her addiction turned for the worse, so she checked into a rehab center for treatment. Soon afterwards, Esther Phillips would move to Los Angeles, where Atlantic Records re-signed her and issued her last charted single for the label, Set Me Free, featuring the Dixie Flyers.
Why not take your love line off of me and set me free?
The song was her first nominated Grammy for Best R&B Vocal Performance Female. While in rehab, she met vocalist Sam Fletcher, who got her a gig at Freddie Jett's Pied Piper Club that issued the classic LP Burnin' in 1970.
And welcome to the Pied Piper.
She would also reunite with Johnny Otis and perform on his show at the Monterey Jazz
We have a
Festival.
selection of songs picked out for you, ladies and gentlemen. Some you've already heard. I can hear his heartbeat.
Well, Atlantic Records had visions of Esther becoming a bona fide pop star. So they began providing her with pop material, such as Van Morrison's May 1970 classic masterpiece recording of Crazy Love.
He gives me love, 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 crazy love. He gives me love, 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 crazy love.
When the idea failed, she was released from her contract.
Sense of humor when I'm feeling low down.
Esther Phillips' career will seek a new life of its own, even during the aftermath of her past one.